Welcome back. Today's topic, we're talking about semaglutide, however you pronounce it, Wegovy, and the Step 5 update that came out November 2021. I've been covering this injectable weight loss drug for a while just because it is so interesting, especially in the health coaching field and with an impact in medical writing. So I want to talk about it. After 2 years of treatment, participants were more likely to lose between 10 and 15% of body weight with the semaglutide treatment versus placebo. So I'm going to break that down for you. These results were presented at the 39th meeting of the Obesity Society, November 1st through 5th. And I'm going to talk all about it today. So welcome. My name is Reggie. I'm the founder of Fit for Freelance, where I build adaptive business leaders through compassionate health coaching. I also have a freelance medical writing company where I've done some medical news coverage for this kind of stuff. So I find this really fascinating. I had to bring it to you as soon as I could. Here we go. Wegovy semaglutide is a weekly injectable weight loss glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonist. And it was approved by FDA for weight management in June 2021. So it had some other uses previously, but earlier this year, they started approving it for weight management and weight loss. It can have a big impact on obesity. They've done a lot of trials on it already. It's already FDA approved, and then it's going worldwide. It was approved by the UK Medicines and Health Products Regulations Agency. It's going to be in Europe in fall 2022. And then recently, Health Canada approved it, and it's expected to be commercially available in Canada as well. So this is going to be a major factor in the future of weight loss and the healthcare scene. So I want to make sure that you have the resources and the beginning information. You'll have to ask your healthcare provider for more questions, but this will get you started for wherever you're watching on the internet. All right, so the STEP trials, they're clinical trial programs, the semaglutide treatment effect in people with obesity. So that's why they're called a STEP. And they've done a few of them, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll put links to the stuff in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. Step 5 was a 104-week trial. So it was 2 years investigating a long-term effect of semaglutide, 2.4 milligrams compared to placebo on body weight and cardiometabolic risks. So I want to go over the study, how they did it here. Let's see if this pulls up. All right, and you got my head in the background too. Great. So the placebo, everyone who did this treatment got 500 calorie per day deficit diet and 150 minutes per week of physical activity kind of baseline. And that's interesting because it's just a really fundamental, like the first things you might try when you're talking about weight loss. And then one group got the placebo, was just a generic injectable that did not have the active ingredient semaglutide in it. And the other one, they stepped up to a 2.4 milligram dose for 2 years. And then they did, the end of treatment was at 104 weeks. And then there's a 7-week follow-up period where they stopped the treatments. So that's 7 weeks to follow up, make sure everybody was okay and good. And that'll come up later. So we'll talk about that more. So that is the method. It was 2 years of continuous treatment with semaglutide, right? So it wasn't like they took it for a little bit and then they tracked them, followed up 2 years after. It was a continuous treatment. Wanted to emphasize that. A little bit about the study. The mean body weight of the people who participated were 233 pounds. The mean BMI was 38.5. Waist circumference, 45.6 inches. And I can't remember how many people were in the study. All right, so we'll go without that. But I thought it was up there. Okay. And what they found in the study here was the group that got the semaglutide had pretty big impact in weight loss, losing about 15 to 16% of their weight. And that's if they adhered to all the elements of the study when it came to eating, the diet, the physical activity, taking the medications on time, and then 15.2% mean body weight in over 2 years. And that's compared to 2.6 and like 0.6% body fat for people on the placebo. So those are pretty impactful results, very powerful when you're looking at that like that, because that is like, you know, your average diet and weight loss plan versus, taking this injectable drug. So that is huge. What's the next one here? So also the categorical weight loss. So I looked at people who lost weight at different levels. So 5%, most people were able to lose 5% of body fat. Then it decreased, and it decreased further in people who were just receiving the placebo. So that's what you're seeing in that left chart in trial. And then on treatment, the numbers are higher. So that's where that 104 weeks, the 2 weeks plus the 7 weeks comes in handy, because the on treatment, like while they were actively taking the medication and the placebo, medication or placebo, or keeping up with that health plan, they were losing weight. But then in the 7 weeks after that, when they were tapered off, people noted a smaller change in proportion of participants who lost weight at these levels. So basically, when they stopped taking the medication, they started gaining weight back. And I'll put a link when I record it very soon about the step 4 trials that kind of highlight when people came off medication, what happened there. Cardiovascular risk factor. So this is big. People lost 14.4 inches off their waist, or centimeters off their waist circumference. I put 5.6 inches. I did the calculations for you on that left side, and then 2.04 inches. In order to get that, you divide the centimeters by 2.54. You just type it into Google like I did. Right. So they saw some really big changes in waist circumference with this medication. Also systolic blood pressure, C-reactive protein, et cetera. And then there are also impacts in hemoglobin, basically. Fasting plasma glucose, fasting serum insulin, and triglycerides. So these are all health indicators related to your blood, and the treatment really helped with all those, in addition to helping with obesity. However, there were some side effects, 125 gastrointestinal disorder side effects in the group patients receiving the treatment. So that was quite a bit. And that was compared to 82 in the placebo groups, and there are no new safety signals. So it's possible sometimes when you have a longer trial that you might develop new types of side effects that you wouldn't recognize in a shorter trial. In this one, they saw that there were no additional side effects, just a somewhat higher amount of side effects with people receiving the semaglutide treatment. So overall, this could be a very valuable part of your healthcare plan if your healthcare provider recommends it. It also highlights some of the challenges when it comes to side effects, getting weekly injections, lots of questions about cost, how much it's going to cost, how long are you going to take it? So if you're taking it for 2 years for those kinds of results, are there going to be rebound effects? What happens after the trials happen, after your trials are complete, after you finish your treatment plan, or like how your body's going to adjust after you stop using the medication. So all those things are things to consider, things yet to be seen, but it's still an exciting time to see how these preliminary or earlier results in these trials are working. The interesting thing for me, I think, is that it makes it almost like you're treating chronic disease without necessarily having a chronic disease, or a chronic disease that would not necessarily need an injection, right? So the obesity, having obesity is a chronic disease that has a lot of factors in those blood markers, indicators, heart health, diabetes risk, all that stuff. But you might not use injectables to treat that. So that's something to consider. One thing that I want to point out is having better health habits and approaching a healthier weight for your body are always good, even if it's temporary. So even if you are only on this medication for 2 years or so, or however long you're on it, you lose weight and you start to gain back, that's better than continuing to gain the weight that you've already on kind of the trajectory to keep increasing. So just keep that in mind too. Follow your healthcare provider's instructions. And one other thing, you're going to need confidence, realistic focus, and accountability with or without any kind of medication like Wegovy or semaglutide, Rybelsus, any of that, because that's what really drives that underlying factor that the health habits, the physical activity, the calorie deficit. That's what makes you stay on that so you can continue seeing results with or without weekly injections. And then also, not everyone wants weekly injections or can afford them or has the healthcare coverage to get them. So all these are going to be factors. If you want to build that confidence, realistic focus, and accountability, I do have the Entrepreneur Health and Business Goals checklist in the description below, where I talk about 25 tips that'll give you energy and help you lose weight, things to consider when it comes to physical activity, goal setting, and eating healthy. And I also have some other things that you can download for free, so check that out in the description below. And then finally, I have a question for you. Do you use Wegovy or Semaglutide? Would you get weekly injections to lose weight? Leave a comment below and a like, because you got to do some research to get this stuff going. I really appreciate it. If you want more health news or ways that you can take confident ownership of your path to freedom and fitness, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. All right, that's it. Keep practicing. Peace. Bye.